Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. And if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, Major League Baseball. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Chicago Cubs. Joe Ryan and Javier Assad are your starters. Now, Assad may have the better ERA in this matchup, but I do think Joe Ryan is a much better starting pitcher. And when you look at Assad's expected numbers, I do expect regression in the second half for him. Also, he's not really pitching deep into ball games. His last 5 starts, only one of those starts, he went more than 5 innings. And while the Cubs' bullpen's improved, it's still not a bullpen that I'd like to see work that many innings in a specific game, especially against Minnesota. And then Joe Ryan on the other side, he's bounced back with his last couple of games, both quality starts, strikeout numbers are there. I think the Twins grab a win in this one. Give me Minnesota on the money line. In our next game, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Texas Rangers. Yusei Kikuchi for Houston, no official starter for the Rangers. Now, Kikuchi pitched really well in his Astros debut against the Rays on August 2nd. He had 11 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, only 3 base hits given up, and a 3-2 Astros win. But he's also faced the Rangers recently. His last start as a Blue Jay was against these Rangers back on July 26th, and he struggled in that one. Gave up 5 earned runs, 8 base hits, and a home run. And the Rangers in general have hit lefties very well in the last 30 days, so I don't really love this matchup for Kikuchi on the road. I think the Rangers get to him for a few runs early, and while I do think the Astros have the better bullpen, I don't think it's by enough for me to want to take a chance with Houston in this game. So I'm going to lean towards the Rangers right now. We'll see who their official starter is, but give me the Rangers on the money line. Next up, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Oakland Athletics. We're going to see Davis Martin and Joey Estes as your starters. Joey Estes has actually been pitching really well recently. In his last game against the Dodgers, really tough lineup. 6 innings, a 2-run ball, so quality start. He had 6 strikeouts. Started to struggle a little bit towards the end of that outing, but hey, he earned a big strikeout to end that start in a jam for Oakland. So he's pitched well recently, especially at home. And then Davis Martin on the side, it's tough to trust him in this White Sox bullpen. 4 earned runs given up in that last start in 3 2/3 against the Twins. That ended up being a 10-2 loss for the White Sox. I think Estes goes another quality start in this game, and that should be enough for an A's win and run line cover. So give me Oakland in this one, laying the 1.5 runs. Next up, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Miami Marlins. Andrew Abbott and Valente Bellozo are your starters. This is one of my least favorite games on the board. I just think it's a really tough one because Andrew Abbott did not really pitch well against the Marlins back on July 13th. He went 3 1/3 innings, 5 earned runs, 2 home runs. However, it still ended up being a big win for the Reds, 10-6 the final score. Their offense really backed them up against the Marlins pitching staff. On the flip side, Bellozo's actually pitched pretty well with Miami so far. 3 starts, 15 innings, 15 strikeouts, only 3 walks given up. His second game against the Red Sox was not great, but his other 2 starts against the Royals and Braves, some pretty tough lineups, winning teams, were successful. However, the Marlins lost all 3 of his starts so far, and all 3 of those by the run line as well, 5-1, 8-3, and 5-3. So for me, I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati in this game, but I don't really love Abbott in this spot, so a game I'm staying away from. In our next game, we see the Pittsburgh Pirates host the San Diego Padres. Michael King and Marco Gonzalez are your starters. This one's 6:40 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Marco Gonzalez has pitched well so far for Pittsburgh, but also has only had 29 innings of work and only 20 strikeouts to go with it. I do expect regression going forward. We even saw that in that last game against Arizona. Wasn't great. 2 1/3 innings, 4 earned runs, a couple of home runs, few walks, and 7 base hits, and a 9-5 Pirates loss. I think he's in trouble in this game. San Diego's been really sharp against lefties as of late. And on the other side, Michael King has put together a really strong campaign for San Diego with a 3.26 ERA. And his last game against a tough Orioles lineup, 6 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts. The Padres are 4-1 in his last 5 starts, and they've beaten some tough teams. The Red Sox, the Rangers, Guardians, and Orioles. All those wins were on the road, by the way, where we find them in this game. So give me Padres in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals hosting the San Francisco Giants. Blake Snell and Jake Irvin are your starters. Some people don't like backing a starting pitcher after a no-hitter or a perfect game, kind of a letdown spot. I understand why, but I mean, an example of, Dylan Cease, who just threw a no-hitter, pitched really well in his first start after that against the Dodgers. 5 2/3, I believe, a 1-run ball with a good amount of strikeouts. And I think Snell pitches well here. I mean, the Giants are still in a tough playoff race. Snell has a lot to prove after a rough start to the season. So I think Snell pitches, 6, 7 strong innings against the Nationals team. It's tough to strike out, but still not a lineup I love right now. And Jake Urban's been rather inconsistent recently. He's also given up a lot of sharp contact, at least 1 home run in 4 of his last 5, at least 2 home runs in 3 of his last 5. I think the Giants do enough here against Urban to win this game and cover the run line. Give me San Francisco in this one. Next up, we see the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. We're going to see Trevor Rogers for Baltimore, no official starter for the Blue Jays. Rogers did not fare too well in his Orioles debut, but it was also at Progressive Field against the Guardians. Very hitter-friendly ballpark, a tough lineup to face, and I do think that this start against the Blue Jays is a much better matchup for him. I mean, Toronto in the last month is 28th in baseball in team OPS against lefties. Their strikeout rate and walk rate are pretty solid, but I still think Rogers has a bounce-back start here. I think he puts together 5-6 decent innings, and the Blue Jays, I don't really trust this bullpen right now if this is more of a bullpen game. I think the Orioles lineup has really improved recently. I like their bullpen a lot more in this matchup, so I'm going to go with the Orioles in this game on the money line and run line. Next up, the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Atlanta Braves. Freddie Peralta and Chris Sale are your starters. We saw the same pitching matchup last week on July 31st. It was a 6-2 win for Atlanta. Both starting pitchers gave up 2 runs, but Chris Sale, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and 5 2/3. Peralta gave up 2 home runs and in 6 innings of work, so still a quality start, but I don't love the fact that he gave up 2 bombs, makes it 4 home runs in his last 2 starts combined. And the Brewers are 1-4 in his last 5 games, which includes losses to teams like the Nationals and the Marlins. So I'm going to roll with the Braves in this game. Even though Milwaukee's been solid against lefties recently, I don't love the fact that Peralta's given up sharp contact against a powerful lineup like Atlanta. I think they can take advantage of that. So give me the Braves in this one. I also think they're a much better bullpen. Give me the Braves in the money line and run line. Next up, an interleague matchup between the Rays and the Cardinals. We got Eric Fedde and Taj Bradley on the mound. And Fedde did not fare well in his Cardinals debut against the Cubs. It was 5 earned runs, 2 home runs in a 6-3 Cardinals loss. But I still think Fedde's put together a really successful season this year. I mean, 126 2/3 innings with a 3.34 ERA and a winning record when you've pitched a majority of your innings with the White Sox is, really impressive. And I also think on the other side, Taj Bradley, I mean, he at the beginning of the season was really struggling on the road, but those struggles on the road are no more. I mean, you look at his last few road starts. I mean, his last 2 against the Blue Jays and the Yankees, 13 innings combined of shutout baseball with 12 strikeouts, and the game against the Rangers, a quality start. Against the Twins, he had a quality start on the road. So he hasn't really struggled on the road since June 1st. It's been, almost, over 2 months now for Bradley. I think he pitches well. I think we go under the total here in Tampa Bay, St. Louis. Don't really love either of these lineups right now. They're, especially the Cardinals, struggling with runners in scoring position. Give me the under. We move on to Kansas City as the Royals take on the Red Sox. We got Cutter Crawford and Cole Ragans as your starters. Now, Cutter Crawford, plainly put, has given up 12 home runs in his last 3 starts. It's unbelievable, but 5 home runs against the Dodgers on July 21st, 3 of them against the Yankees on July 27th, and then 4 more given up against the Rangers in his last start, which ended up still being a Red Sox win in the end. And it's kind of strange because, Crawford's now given up 26 home runs on the season, but didn't give up a single home run till May 1st. He in March, the one start he had in March, and throughout the month of April, no home runs given up. And now it just seems like he's given up 3+ a game. And we had that stretch in June where he gave up a ton, was a lot better at towards the beginning of July, but giving up a lot of sharp contact. And now when you go to Kauffman Stadium, a hitter-friendly ballpark against a powerful lineup like the Royals, who do a pretty good job offensively at home, and Cole Ragans on the other side, the Red Sox have been better against lefties recently, but they still have a pretty steep strikeout rate. Ragans coming off another good outing against the Tigers in his last game. I got to roll with the Royals in this game on the money line. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, but give me KC money line. Next up, we'll go to Coors Field as the Mets take on the Rockies. We got Paul Blackburn for New York, and we're going to see Ryan Feltner for the Rockies. Blackburn pitched pretty well in that season, or his Mets debut against the Angels. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts, 5-1 Mets victory. And Blackburn does have some Coors Field experience. He actually pitched there last year as a member of the Athletics, and he had a really good outing, a quality start for Oakland, and it was a victory for the A's, 11-3. He went 6 innings, a 2-run ball, 7 strikeouts. He did give up 9 base hits, but not a lot of, in terms, no home runs, no walks, so really a lot of singles in that one. And I think he pitches well enough here. Feltner's not been great at Coors Field this season. The Mets have a strong lineup against right-handed pitching. Give me the Mets in this game on the run line. Next up, the Detroit Tigers take it on the Seattle Mariners. Tarek Skubal and George Kirby are the projected starters. Skubal, we know he's having a great season, but recently a little bit shaky, especially that last game against the Royals. 5 earned runs, 7 base hits, and a 9-2 loss for Detroit. And when you look at Skubal, his last few games, he's given up a good amount of base runners and some sharp contact, at least 1 home run in 3 of his last 4. It is a little bit concerning. I mean, the Mariners have not been a great offense this year. You're pitching at T-Mobile Park, so I still think Skubal bounces back and puts together a good outing, but the Mariners have been a little bit better against lefties than righties. Kirby's still in great form for Seattle. I think the Mariners have the better bullpen, so I'm going to roll with the under, but especially the Mariners on the money line in this game. It just seems like a game where Seattle ekes out a low-scoring victory, maybe a 3-2, 2-1 kind of final score, but give me Seattle on the money line this one. Next up, the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tyler Phillips and Gavin Stone are your starters. This is a tough one because you got 2 starting pitchers that are struggling right now. Gavin Stone's given up 4 or more runs in 4 of his last 5. Phillips just got crushed against the Mariners, 8 earned runs, 3 home runs at T-Mobile Park of all places against the Mariners, who have been really struggling offensively. So it's tough to know what you're going to get from either starter, but I will say Gavin Stone's struggles recently have been mostly on the road. 3 of his last 4 bad outings have been on the road. So the last home start he had against the Red Sox, which is still a really tough team, they're leading baseball against righties and Team OPS right now in the last month. He pitched 5 innings of 1-run ball and a 4-1 Dodgers win. So I do think the Dodgers have the better lineup right now. They've had the better numbers recently against right-handed pitching. When you look at the bullpens, the Phillies bullpen I think is strong, but in the last month, the expected numbers aren't great. The ERA is also not great, so I give the advantage there slightly to LA as well. I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers in this game on the money line. I think Gavin Stone's going to be good enough here for LA to pick up a W. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Put those baseball picks in the comment section below. And again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.